Benchmark indices extend gains at day's highs. Nifty about 21,650, up over 150 points, while Sensex trades above 71,800, up over 500 points. Nifty Realty shines in trade, gains 5%, most since 2021. And Bajaj Finance, Ujjivan Small Finance, Angel Broking surge on better than guided Q3 update. Nifty IT slips from morning highs to trade in the red on the Morgan Stanley, re-rating LTI Mindtree, HCL Tech, as well as TCS, which extend losses. And Interglobe Aviation has withdrawn fuel fee on recent fall in jet fuel prices. So will the other airlines follow suit? We'll find out. Hello and welcome. You're watching Last Trades, a show in which we take you through all that is happening in bulk deals, block deals, and of course volume buzzers. I am Agam Vakil, but before that, we take a quick look at how the markets are faring. It's been a fairly quiet day of trade. The Nifty and the Sensex at the moment currently trending marginally in the red. We have seen a little bit of a recovery as well from day's lows at the moment, but it is all about the broader markets. And that's where we're seeing the most amount of traction, at least at this point in time. Pardon me. To take a look at what's happening in the broader markets as well, we largely have gainers from the real estate pack. So Puravankara up around 12%. That's from, of course, the micro cap space. We also have Kolte Patil, which is up and about. Besides that, a whole host of companies from the real estate sector, and we're going to talk about that in just a bit. We are looking at significant gains there as well. On the losing end, we do have some amount of weakness in Shanti Gears, which is down around 7.6%. VST Industries, which was advancing over the previous couple of days, is now under pressure, down around 3.7% as we speak. So, well, some amount of profit taking coming through in VST Industries. PSP Projects is the other one which is under pressure. That's down 3.4% at the moment. It has been a reasonably good last 12 months, but for now, we're looking at a decline there. And Shivalik Biometals from the small cap space is the other one which is also in focus. Off days lows, but still down around 2.6% on that one as well. Besides that, keeping an eye on Sagar Cement. That is also under a tad bit of pressure, down around 2.3%. So that's as far as your broader markets are concerned, which on the whole, of course, are moving largely in tandem with the benchmarks. The question here is that where do we go from here? But on that note, let's take a look at all the stocks that we are going to be addressing in this show. Of course, we will be talking about Shobha and the entire Realty pack. Johnson Controls also are buzzing on account of volumes. Borosil Renewables and, of course, Torrent Power, which also will be in focus since it has had new MoUs signed with the Gujarat government. And from there on, we get off the mark by talking about the real estate sector, and that in fact has been buzzing and doing very well in today's day of trade. We in fact do have the likes of Sobha emerging as one of the top gainers on that index as well. I'm going to get in Anushi to give us more details on that one. Anushi, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Agam. So let's start with Sobha Limited, which has been the talk today with the share price being more than 14% in today's trading session and the volumes buzzing more than 9 times its 30-day average. While this was on the back of Motilal Oswal picking Sobha Limited as its top pick for 2024, implying about 25% upside over here. So the couple of reasons that they have cited, one is that the expected launches that are going to happen, and the pre-sales growth of about 25% over the period between FY23 to 26. That should be in watch. Along with this, they're also expecting re-rating in the land valuation with monetization of their Bengaluru land parcels. Now, coming to the overall Nifty Realty Index, that has been the top gainer with gaining about 5% in today's trading session and seen the most rise since its October 2021 levels. So these gains were mainly led by Sobha, Godrej Properties and DLF. So now going forward, our focus should be more on the Q3 FY24 business updates for these companies. and keep a track on those. So that's all for the Nifty Realty part today.
Absolutely, absolutely. The Q3 updates coming up, and of course, a few weeks down the line, we'll also start getting earnings from a lot of these real estate companies, which will perhaps give us more of an explanation as to the strength behind these counters and the sector in general over the course of the last many months. But my colleagues also spoke to Credit's President Baman Rustam Irani earlier in the day about the realty boom in the country and the balance of the demand and supply in the space. This is what they had to say. Listen in.
India is itself abuzz and on fire, and I think real estate happens to touch every stream of your life. And towards that, our developer fraternity, which has become a lot more organized than it was at least 10 years back, is reaping the benefits on the back of a strong demand that has grown. And another thing, which I'd like to mention for everybody is that about 1.5 crores is considered as a luxury homes or premium homes across the country. But one should be a little comfortable in knowing that 1.5 crores in a Mumbai or even a Delhi or a Bangalore or Chennai does not make it a premium housing. But the sale of this segment is extremely huge. And as far as the premium, what we consider premium 10 crore plus homes have also seen a huge increase. And I can talk about MMR alone. We've seen about 1,27,985, so about 1,28,000 registrations take place, in which I can tell you that the affordable housing and the mid-mass, which is I would say 1 to 3 crore homes, have seen the largest part of the pie. But what has happened with that is because of the premium houses having a higher ticket value, they continue to steal the limelight.
As you talked about the premium segment, I'd like to understand a couple of things within this segment. Now, as you mentioned, the demand has been on a high, but so has supply. And there seems to be an increase in unsold inventory as well. So what kind of trajectory do you see going forward? Do you see kind of moderating a little bit? How do you see this playing out?
So, Smriti, first of all, when markets improve, you have everybody chipping in, everybody stepping in, everybody wanting to kind of have a piece of that pie. My assumption is when you say supply has increased, it is more important to say good supply should increase, right? Because the customer has become extremely discerning as of right now. So in spite of all the stock that you will see coming in the market, I don't think all of it is going to be something that my consumer is going to love. Consumer has become extremely selective with what exactly he wants to buy. And I can tell you in the premium segment, people are preferring gated communities where there is a lot more safety, security, community developments where there is a lot more of connectivity with your fraternity or with the people living in your complex. Then of course people are seeing the amenities, people are seeing the reputation of the developer, people are seeing what kind of long-term good titles are available. At the same point of time, locational advantage with regards to the infrastructure that is coming up in the area. And again, over here, we are blessed in the MMR that about 3 lakh crores has been expended or is being expended by the government of Maharashtra for improvisation of the infrastructure out here. But I should say, quite clearly that the government, as of right now, is driving the economy in a large way by spending heavily on infrastructure, whether it be the Delhi-Mumbai highway, whether it be the bullet train itself, whether it be the ports that are coming up. All these points are going to become infrastructure. All these points are going to become huge places where a lot of development will take place. And these developments will not only be residential, they'll be commercial, there'll be warehouses, there'll be data centers, there'll be senior living, which is again becoming a very big play. There will also be student housing or hostels that get created outside of campuses, because we're seeing a lot more people prefer that. So while we at Credit are continuing to carry out studies so that our members tend to benefit from that development, I can just tell you in a nutshell that given the pace that we are seeing of the change, we are very hopeful that 24 will outgun 2023, and we will have a steady supply of good inventory coming up in the market. Which your point about even the unsold inventory, it is probably the lowest in 15 years as of right now.
Thereon, we move on to Torrent Power, which is also in focus, moving on large volumes, advancing significantly after the company has signed 4 more MoUs with the government of Gujarat, and it is trading on, well, substantially high volumes as well, as I mentioned. We have Himansh joining us to give us more details on this one. Himansh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Agam. So, like you mentioned, Torrent Power is trading on very high volume, 16 times their 30-day averages to be precise. And this comes after the company has signed 4 MoUs with the government of Gujarat ahead of the summit that's going to be coming up shortly. This contract is for an investment of 47,500 and entails investment into renewable energy, green hydrogen, as well as power distribution. If one were to give the breakup of this 47,500, it's across 3,450 megawatts of solar power projects. You have 1,000 odd megawatts of hybrid power projects, and then you have associated infrastructure related capex for 7,000 odd megawatts as well. Now the company has already an installed capacity of about 4,300 megawatts, and 1,000 megawatts odd of power is already under development in terms of its renewable segment, and this is substantially higher, in fact 3 to 4 times what's already been underway. So that's why the company is seeing such surge in volumes. The key tailwinds for this company ahead are firstly its increased contribution from licensed distribution business, as well as a higher contribution from the renewables business, which is something it's rapidly expanding on, and also on higher capacity utilization, which is known as a plant load factor, or PLF, which is something that it has been maximizing on. And that's all on Torrent Power.
Okay, Himansh, thank you so much for joining us and getting us those updates on Torrent Power. On that note, we slip into a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Large Trades, and we now talk about Johnson Controls, which is in focus after the central government of India has revised quality controls. Well, we get in my colleague Mahima to give us an update on this one. Mahima, what is it that the government has made changes towards, and how does this impact the sector in general?
Right, Agam. So as you rightly mentioned, the government has had put out an order relaxing the quality control norms for air conditioner industry. If we talk about the relaxation provided by the government, they've provided this to promote ease of business, and basically major relaxation has been provided for hermetic compressors for more than 7,000 watt, which are usually used in air conditioners. So it's a big news for the air conditioner industries. We've seen a lot of other stocks like Voltas who are also buzzing in trade today because of this particular news. But talking about Hitachi, the financials of the companies have not been doing very well. They've recorded a loss of 82 crores in FY23, and Q1 losses were recorded at 41 crores. Q2 also had recorded a losses of 56 crores, and their borrowings. This is very important to note that their borrowings have increased by 40% since March 23. If we talk about the stock performance, it has been buzzing in volumes today as well as in terms of percentage. The stock touched an intraday high of 7.7%. In the past 5 days also, the stock has been trading approximately 5.7% up, and in 6 months the stock has gained over 15%. And overall, if we talk about analyst recommendations, it's a mixed view. 1 says buy, 3 says hold, and 2 says sell. So this is the overall view of Hitachi for today.
Right, thanks so much for that, Mahima. Keep an eye on that one. And of course, it'll be also interesting to know the mix when it comes to B2B and B2C vis-a-vis its peers. Of course, we also know that Johnson Controls has been struggling with profitability, which is not the case for many of its peers, but we'll continue to keep an eye on that one. From there on, we move on to the solar renewable space. We have Borosil Renewables, which is also trading on high volumes. Let's get in my colleague Mihika to give us an update on what's happening today. Let's start with that, Mihika.
Yes. So yeah, the stock did jump to an intraday high of almost 6%, and that's the highest jump the stock has seen in the past 21 weeks. And in the past month, the stock, in the past year actually, the stock is down 4.3%, but in the past month it has surged around 9%. The volumes were over 7.3 times its 30-day average, and the total volume stood at 32.86 lakh shares, and the highest volumes were at the price of 485. When you talk about the latest quarterly quarter 2 numbers, the June quarter actually did see a loss of 8 crores, but the company recovered it, and the revenue was up at 25 crores net profit. Net profit was up to 25 crores, and the revenue saw a growth of 137% on a year-on-year basis to 401.66 crores, and the margins of the company also improved to 8.1% versus 7.5%.
All right, Mika, but if you could give us a little more about the background in terms of what has worked for the company and what hasn't, to give us a little more context with respect to today's move.
Yes. So one major point is the rise of solar power in the renewables sector. Now, the renewable sector in the power generation of India, the share has increased to 31%, and out of this, 54% is solar power. And the company, the government has also set a target of 280 gigawatts by 2030 for solar power, which indicates huge potentials. For the company itself, it is the largest solar glass supplier in India, and it also has an international presence. Around 25% of its revenues are from exports, and it sees huge export potential in Europe, USA, and Turkey, and it's also developing new segments, and one of the segments is glass for greenhouse. And lastly, if you go to some of the key risks that could affect the company, it's the drop in the key raw material prices. The solar grade polysilicon prices were down to 57 to 64 RMB per kg, depending on what kind of grade polysilicon was there, versus 87 back in October. And this was mainly due to overcapacities in China that were, distressing the prices. And the second point was the drop in solar glass prices that could stand, a potential risk for the company, as China, Vietnam, and Malaysia have been, dumping products.
Thanks so much for getting us those updates, Mika. It's an interesting one, to say the least, when it comes to Borosil Renewables. There are a lot of advantages that could have been playing in favor of the company. But for now, of course, the price movements have been subdued over the course of the last few months. But that's not to say that it hasn't been moving. At least in today's day of trade, we are seeing that advance play through. And from there on, we move on to MobiKwik and Myntra, which are also in focus, with MobiKwik planning to raise 880 crore rupees via an IPO, and Myntra reporting a 25% jump in revenues in FY23. Rishabh joins us to give us more details. Rishabh.
That's right, Agam. MobiKwik has the board of MobiKwik has passed a resolution to go for an IPO yet again. This time it'll be a much downsized IPO, raising about 880 crore rupees via a purely fresh issue. That's compared to a 1900 crore rupee IPO that they had filed for in 2021. That alone, the fresh issue size was about 1500 crores. So we're seeing less than about a half of that being raised by MobiKwik now. This is, again, like I said, this is their second attempt. And what this issue will also entail is a pre-IPO placement of about 176 crore rupees. The founders of MobiKwik have maintained that they'll only go public this time purely on the back of their balance sheet. So they have been profitable for about 3 straight quarters now, though the profits have been really, really slim. About a single-digit high crore profit that they've been pulling in for about 3 quarters now. So perhaps this is a sign of the IPOs that we're seeing. So we had Ola Electric filed their DRHP, we had First Cry, now we're seeing MobiKwik come up with a downsized IPO, perhaps a sign of more sensibly priced IPOs to come in 2024. Moving on to Myntra has reported its FY23 numbers with the MCA. What we're seeing is a 25% growth in revenue to about 4,400 crores, almost nearing that if we take into account revenue from other income. What we're also seeing is that losses have also widened to about 780 crores. So it is still struggling to earn a profit. Doesn't seem likely that it'll happen in FY24 as well. It continues to be backed by Walmart, Flipkart. So its operations as a going concern isn't much of a concern, really. It has solid backing there. But it does compete in a very, very competitive space. It has Nykaa, there's Ajio, there's Amazon Fashion, there's SoftBank-backed Meesho in a very, very competitive space. So lots to see on what happens with Myntra going ahead.
Absolutely. Certainly a very challenging space given the kind of peers that Myntra is going to be dealing with. Rishabh, thank you so much for joining us and getting us those updates on MobiKwik as well as Myntra. But from there on, we talk about Interglobe Aviation, which has announced a waiver on fuel charges for their domestic and international flights on the back of the price cuts. Vinay joins in to give us more details here. Vinay, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so as you said, that Indigo has removed fuel charge on all routes because of fall in ATF prices. So it was introduced back in October after a run-up in fuel prices for 4 straight months. But now that the prices have fallen in last 3 months, so the amount that you see that the ATF prices have fallen 4% in Jan, 6% in November, and over 4% in December as well. So what this will do is that it will make airfares cheaper, because Indigo flies 6 out of every 10 travelers that travel in the domestic market. So it has a monopoly over the market, and this will see play out in the entire market as well. So fuel accounts for nearly 40% of an airline's operational cost. So this is going to be a huge relief for the airline as well, and as well for traveler as well. But Indigo has also said that it will continue to adjust fares with the change in fuel prices in the market conditions. So the relief might not last long for the travelers, so they can enjoy while it lasts.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Vinay, for getting us those updates. And from there on, before we wrap, Shah Metallics has also been in focus today. The company's metallics volumes has been rising on the back of new capacities. And the stock is trading with cuts today, but we spoke to Brijbhushan Agarwal, the Vice Chairman and MD, earlier today on how they plan to scale up their revenues over the next few quarters. Listen in.
See, we had been observing from last, 2.5 years, if you see the results, like what we pre-IPO and last year financial, we almost doubled the top line. And the major advantage with, focus, if we see, we had been always a very distinct company, like very different, on our business valuation side, on our product side, on the risk mitigation side. We always say that, we are a metal mart. we are going to create a FMCG metal basket, like you see in one of the, we are in the aluminum space, we are in the stainless steel. We just integrated into a stainless steel business just because, we make all the raw material of the stainless steel. And down the stream, like if we are doing anything forward or backward, it's complement each other very well. Apart from that, if you see from in next 2 to 3 years, we expect that the revenue is almost going to be double. Lot of our expansion, what we declared 2 years back, from middle of coming year, this year itself, we'll see plant getting commissioned. So we'll see the numbers increasing. The stainless steel plant has also been commissioned. The plant which we took over from the NCLT, this itself is also going to be regularized this year. So a lot of happening.